There's a movement in society that works like a religion where people participate in backwardsness. This religion utilizes people of influence to preach ideals that no one can see or prove. In fact, there's more evidence to counter this belief system, hence the label backwardsness. And who are the architects of this movement? The leftist social engineers, otherwise known as cultural Marxists. The black community is the largest collective under liberal programming. In reality, it is now a matriarchy, and that became abundantly clear once strong black fathers lost their position as head of family. The black community as a whole operates within the mind frame of the black woman. The modern image of black women is more aggressive, more vocal, more intolerant, and more demanding. The strong black woman label was part of the mainstream media campaign created for the purpose of separating her from black men, convincing black women that cooperation is a sign of weakness.
Generalizations are useful, I constantly say this, but they're also shortcuts. And we miss the realities, the full depth of black women's stories. Because you are essentializing black people, you're saying there is no complexity beyond this.
For black men today, they are moved by name brand clothing, impractical purchases, and drama. With the help of black television and radio, cultural Marxists use designated programmers to reshape manhood by displaying black men as overly emotional, overly excited, and petty. Black men are also growing their hair long while black women are cutting theirs short. From the NFL's push to wearing pink under the guise of breast cancer, to rappers' flamboyant act and dress, black men have unwittingly obliged to this undertaking.
Dave Chappelle, another great comedian, said that, in the industry, they tried to make him wear a dress. Have you ever ran into that with scripts, and is that something that, you wouldn't do, for?
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you have to have boundaries, you have to have limits that you refuse to cross.
I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. It's like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress, at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin. Yeah. The movie's doing good. So I walk in the trailer, I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in, the writer comes in. I think he's a writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a prostitute. And he put this dress on, and Martin's a prostitute. Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. I'm not wearing no dress, man. I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. The director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress. What is wrong? What is this, Brokeback Mountain?
From him using terms like white people do it too, and it's not fair, to him comparing himself to white people, it is a sign that his masculine frame of mind has been altered. With the black father gone, many black men have become mama's boys and women worshippers. From dealing with adversity to looking for leadership from another man, black men have taken on the mentality of black women. It is the mentality of the black mother, to be precise. And with the black mother's nurture and emotion, he will side with race before he sides with truth. And that goes for siding with people who break the law and align with chaos. And because his black mother feels guilt for lacking the ability to hold on to the father, she spoils her children. And with being spoiled, the child develops the mentality of entitlement, where they begin to feel that society owes them. With this mentality, it is not difficult for their idols to stir up their emotions at will. In fact, the mentality of entitlement is the mentality of most criminals. With black men no longer being accepted as the head, black women have sprinted to the political left, and they haven't looked back. In fact, the majority of all American women vote left, while the majority of American men, except for black men, vote right. In reality, left-leaning black men are in a horrible position. It appears that they are left-leaning gluttons for punishment, as they are servants of the feminine principle. As for this religion of backwardsness, the majority of the black community is under its control. With the program now so ingrained, blacks even protect the very ideologies social engineers have used to control and destroy them. It is the cultural Marxists that use blacks as their principal study group. Upon accomplishing a particular goal, they spread their ideals to the rest of society. But blacks aren't the only ones who are the primary targets. As more single mother households form, cultural Marxists reprogram women, fine-tuning them to the teeth. Feminism has been hijacked and is now used to destroy. Although there are women who now can see the damage this ideology has caused, there are many who still have feminist programming deep within their bones. Feminism programs women to compete rather than search for the truth. While the mainstream media suggests that racism is the biggest issue in America, it is only a smokescreen.
And the sluts are out.
Feminism by far has changed the dynamic between men and women. Racism is not in the home, but millions are on the brink of divorce right now due to feminist lies. The serpent has maintained his pattern of approaching Eve. In fact, women are often the target for social experiments.
Bernays was determined to find a way to manage and alter the way these new crowds thought and felt. To do this, he turned to the writings of his uncle Sigmund.
What Eddie got from Freud was indeed this idea that there is a lot more going on in human decision-making, not only among individuals, but even more importantly among groups, than this idea that information drives behavior. And so Eddie began to formulate this idea that you had to look at things that would play to people's irrational emotions. And you see, that moved Eddie immediately into a different category from other people in his field and most government officials and managers of the day who thought if you just hit people with all this factual information, they would look at that and say, oh, of course. And Eddie knew that was not the way the world worked.
Bernays set out to experiment with the minds of the popular classes. His most dramatic experiment was to persuade women to smoke. At that time, there was a taboo against women smoking, and one of his early clients, George Hill, the president of the American Tobacco Corporation, asked Bernays to find a way of breaking it. A. Brill was one of the first psychoanalysts in America. He told Bernays that if he could find a way to connect cigarettes with the idea of challenging male power, then women would smoke. Every year, New York held an Easter Day parade to which thousands came, and Bernays decided to stage an event there. He persuaded a group of rich debutantes to hide cigarettes under their clothes. Then they should join the parade, and at a given signal from him, they were to light up the cigarettes dramatically. Bernays then informed the press that he had heard that a group of suffragettes were preparing to protest by lighting up what they called torches of freedom.
He knew this would be an outcry, and he knew that all of the photographers would be there to capture this moment. And so he was ready with a phrase, which was torches of freedom. And so here you have a symbol, women, young women, debutantes, smoking a cigarette in public, with a phrase that means anybody who believes in this kind of equality pretty much has to support them in the ensuing debate about this, because torches of freedom. The next day, this was not just in all of the New York papers, it was across the United States and around the world.
The idea that smoking actually made women freer was completely irrational, but it made them feel more independent.
And this program is not something that wears down after a year. This thing has them dedicating their lives to listening to a boss who does not care and who does not compromise. Many women even forego having families and being mothers just so that they won't have to listen to a man who may love and provide for them. Then there's Planned Parenthood and the many black women who are affiliated with or employed by the company. Percentage-wise, black women are aborting their babies at a higher clip than anyone else, all under lofty titles like women's health. Of course, there are more contradictions, like blacks siding with the defund the police movement, which leaves black neighborhoods open to crime. Women advocating for black trans women while they complain about the shortage of black men. Women crying rape while dressing more provocative than ever. And Americans who are intrigued by communism. In other words, even after seeing how communism destroys countries, there are left-leaning voters who still want to give it a try. Communism itself rewards people to fail. It's like presenting a trophy to the runner who came in last place, then telling them they lost because the other runner's sneakers were more expensive. The left looks to change our country by destroying the systems that hold the United States together, and their job is to convince you to advocate for chaos. One more thing about the left and backwardsness. The left opposes nature. When you place women over men, children over adults, prioritize LGBTQ families over the nuclear family, advocate for sexual liberation of children, along with do whatever you want mentality, you are in a movement against order. To be clear, you're advocating for chaos. Feminism is a movement against biology. Men are physically stronger than women, and that's not an accident. Allow me to be blunt. The left is on a mission against God. They wish to point out the mistakes in his design. It does so by saying this person is a female in the wrong body, and this man is attracted to men. So why did you make this world one that says being gay is wrong? By telling society that the meaning of life is to be happy, they program society to fall short of their purpose. And it gets worse. They are after our children. They've placed pornography in school libraries. There's drag queen story time and hormone therapy for gender dysphoric children that can be prescribed without parental consent. When will we come to the conclusion that they've gone too far? And it gets even darker. In movies, the directors hint to the practice of backwardsness.
I don't need a man telling me what to do.
There is backwards speech, backwards lyrics and songs, backwards writing, backwards bending joints, and many backwards or inverted displays and occult practices that I can't mention here. My intention behind making this video was to have you view these issues from a broader perspective. The purpose of my producing content is so that you might remove the horse blinders affixed by the leftist mainstream media companies. There are many more of us than them. Resist the agenda by going against the narrative. Remember, God wins, always. This is my understanding. What is yours? Please comment below. Like and share if you enjoyed this content. Subscribe and ring the notifications bell so that you'll know when I release my next video. Until next time.